Today's episode is brought to you by Angie. Angie has made it easier than ever to connect with skilled professionals to get all your jobs and projects done well. Let me tell you, there's the version of it where you try to do something at home, and then there's a version of it where you have someone help you, you watch them do it the right way, and you go, thank God I didn't try to do that myself. I have fully done things around the home that I think look good, and then a bang in the night, and I wake up to a shelf collapsing, a painting falling off the wall. I've seen it all go south. I own a home, and I can tell you, I know how much work it can take. Whether it's everyday maintenance and repairs or making dream projects a reality, it can be hard just to know where to start. But now all you need to do is Angie that and find a skilled local pro who will deliver the quality and expertise you need. Whatever your home project, big or small, indoor or outdoor, you can Angie that and connect with skilled professionals to get the project done well. Right now, one of my wish lists is I want a bike for my condo in Milwaukee, and I would love to rig it up on a pulley in the ceiling because I have one of those like lofted ceilings, but I'm so scared to try that on my own. Angie has 20 years of home experience, and they've combined it with new tools to simplify the whole process. Bring them your project online or with the Angie app. Answer a few questions and Angie can handle the rest from start to finish, or help you compare quotes from multiple pros and connect instantly, which means you can take care of any home project in just a few taps. Because when it comes to getting the most out of your home, you can do this when you Angie that. Download the free Angie mobile app today or visit Angie.com. That's ANGI.com.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. When you use Angie for your home projects, you know all your jobs will be done well. Roof repair? Done well. Kitchen sink install? Done well. Deck upgrades? Done well. Electrical upgrade? Done well. Angie's been connecting homeowners with skilled pros for nearly 30 years, so we know the difference between done and done well. Hire high-quality, certified pros at Angie.com. Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie, and one thing I've learned is that you buy a house, but you make it a home. Because with every fix, update, and renovation, it becomes a little more your own. So you need all your jobs done well. For nearly 30 years, Angie has helped millions of homeowners hire skilled pros for the projects that matter. From plumbing to electrical, roof repair to deck upgrades. So leave it to the pros who will get your jobs done well. Hire high-quality certified pros at Angie.com.
If you just read the bio for Dr. Steve, host of Weird Medicine on Sirius XM 103 and made popular by two really comedy shows, Opie and Anthony and Ron and Fez, you would have thought that this guy was a bit of, a clown.
Why can't you give me the respect that I'm entitled to?
I've got diphtheria crushing my esophagus. I've got Ebola vibes dripping from my nose. I've got the leprosy of the heart valve, exacerbating my incredible woes. I want to take my brain out and blast it with the wave, an ultrasonic, echographic, and a pulsating shave. I want a magic pill for all my ailments, the health equivalent of Citizen Kane. And if I don't get it now in the tablet, I think I'm doomed and I'll have to go insane. I want a requiem for my disease, so I'm paging Dr. Steve. Dr. Steve!
From the world-famous Cardiff Electric Network studios in beautiful downtown OJ City, it's Weird Medicine, the first and still only uncensored medical show in the history of broadcast radio, now a podcast. I'm Dr. Steve with my little pal, Dr. Scott, the traditional Chinese medicine provider, gives me street cred. Whack alternative medicine assholes. Hello, Dr. Scott.
Hey, Dr. Steve.
This is a show for people who had never listened to a medical show on the radio or the internet. If you got a question that you're embarrassed to take to your regular medical provider, if you can't find an answer anywhere else, give us a call, 347-766-4323. That's 347-POOHEAD. Follow us on Twitter at Weird Medicine or at DrScottWM. Visit our website at drsteve.com for podcasts and medical news and stuff you can buy. And go to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/@weirdmedicine. Most importantly, we're not your medical providers. Take everything you hear with a grain of salt. Don't act on anything you hear on this show without talking over with your healthcare provider. All right, check out stuff.drsteve.com, stuff.drsteve.com. It is functional, but I promise one of these days I'll make it better. You can scroll down and see the Roadie robotic electric. That's one of them electric robots. Robotic tuner for guitars, basses, and other stringed instruments. And they also have the Roadie Coach. It is getting time for gift giving. And this is the perfect gift for a musician if you don't want to spend a whole lot of money, but they're going to be blown away by it. Brian May was blown away by this. He's the guitarist for Queen. He said these bloody bastards came up with this at the end of my career. And you just stick the thing on the peg and you pluck the string and it turns the knobs and tunes your thing perfectly. It's a little bit of a stunt because you can tune your guitar and you can even tune it when you can't hear it. If you've got one of those visual tuners, but still really cool. And then on top of that, they have this thing called the Roadie Coach. And the Roadie Coach will teach somebody how to play their instrument. So it's roadie.drsteve.com or just go to stuff.drsteve.com and scroll down. Check out Dr. Scott's website at simplyherbals.net. That's simplyherbals.net. You may have heard the jingle at the beginning of the show. And it's, well, you know what? What the hell? I'm not going to play it at the beginning of the show when I go back. Let's play it now. I don't think you've heard this. All right, here we go. This is kind of fun.
I already like it.
So I played this for Tacy, and she's never a big fan of anything that I do. And I played this, and I said, "You got to hear this Dr. Scott jingle." And as soon as we got this far in, she's like, "Well, that doesn't sound like him." She expected like some hippie,
I love it.
thing. But that was the whole point. Yeah. Is this is completely, the opposite of your vibe. But anyway, but in a way, it isn't.
Dr. Scott's Simply Herbal CBD nasal spray is the best on the market with buffered saline, peppermint oil, and just the right amount of CBD.
There you go.
Be ready for anything. That's simplyherbals.net. That's simplyherbals.net. Order yours today. Dr. Scott's Simply
There you go,
Herbal
anyway.
CBD nasal spray is the best.
There you go. There's your plug.
I
Dr.
love
Scott.
it.
Yeah, I do too.
Oh my God, I think
And
it's fabulous.
there's solos in the middle of it and all kinds of stuff. The AI did this. I wrote the words, and what I've found is on these. Here.
Order yours today.
That's a. How does the AI know about trading fours and shit like that?
I don't
And
know.
those jazz scales were actually really good.
Those are very good. That was incredible.
There was one that I did where this thing did a guitar solo that was like, oh, I want to learn that.
Nobody love that jazz, the swingy jazz.
Well, yeah, and there's a sax.
a walking bass, and it.
There's your trumpets. Taking a break. What the hell?
Order yours today.
Yeah, the drummer is
I know,
perfect.
That's what I'm saying. It's incredible. That sounds like a just big jazz kind of swing era kind of.
Anyway, it blows my mind that the AI is that advanced that it can make up stuff like this.
That is incredible.
I mean, there was one, let me see, is it the Cardiff Electric one or Tukey Taking Over the World? I don't think I've played that on this, but this is one. Okay, everybody knows Tukey the Puppet, and the backstory is that Ray DeVito didn't have a sock to, pleasure himself in, and so he pleasured himself into this puppet and it came alive. That's the backstory. Okay. But listen to this crazy song. So you just tell the AI that and it comes up with this. Here Ray DeVito, I already told the story. So that's basically what I told the AI and it came up with this, which blows my mind.
The product of a semen explosion. A semen explosion. Stupid Ray DeVito got a low IQ. Blowing lows in a puppet that's cute. Now we come alive. He taking over the world. Yes, he do. Tukey taking over the world. Tukey was born. The product of a semen explosion. A semen
explosion. Stupid Ray DeVito got a low IQ. Blowing loads in a puppet that's cute. Now we come alive.
He taking over the world.
Yes, he do. taking over the world. Now you can't tell me that's not catchy.
That's pretty cool.
Is that not insane?
That's pretty wild. Yep.
How would AI know to do that?
I don't know.
Maybe I should be more disturbed than amazed.
Yeah.
I don't understand how it
No, I don't either.
knows. I mean, genres of music, you can just feed it that.
Yep.
Say, okay, this is trap music, this is house music, and it can figure that stuff out.
Yep.
But then to turn around and say, now go make one and make the sounds from nothing. It's just zeros and ones. There were no instruments involved.
No, I know what I don't know.
No voices. You can hear them breathing.
Yep. Yeah,
You know?
I know. It's incredible.
Here, this one on Cardiff Electric, the floating potato.
Cardiff's a potato. They say a tater, not a hater. He's a masturbator. He got prestige. He ain't never going to bend a knee. Mr. Cardiff, don't forget it gonna be hard if he stop messing with Stuttering John. He stop messing with Stuttering John. It all over and the devil verse is done. Cardiff Electric and his sidekick, okay. They ain't too bad for a cup of Ofe. Adding me Dabbler, he's a bad apple fool. Adding Tukey and you got to Spalooge puppet too.
Unbelievable.
I mean,
That's crazy. No,
Isn't that
great.
something?
It is. It's impressive.
Anyway.
That's pretty cool, Dr. Dave.
All right, so that's Dr. Scott's jingle anyway.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that.
Made lovingly by
love
AI.
I love it. I love it.
Check us out on patreon.com/weirdmedicine. I'm throwing up an eclectic group of stuff, or group of collection is better term of stuff on there, and there's going to be more, including all the normal world stuff. The female ejaculation thing was one of my favorites. Didn't get the reaction I was hoping for, but they had a lot to do that day. But they did get it in. I appreciate them. So Ken and Sam and Dave and Angela and Bryce and all those guys are just the best over there at the Normal World Studios. Check them out. YouTube.com/@normalworld or get a Blaze TV subscription. I have a friend of mine has a Blaze TV subscription. He loves all this stuff. I had no idea that show was on there. So it's not like anything else on that network, I'm telling you. So a lot of people go, "Oh, Blaze TV," and it's like, no, it's they have an open mind about stuff. They have to have that show on there. And then cameo.com/weirdmedicine. I'll say fluid to you, mama. All right, Dr. Scott, very good. Everything going okay at simplyherbals.net?
Doing pretty well, thank you.
I have a new crop of lion's mane coming.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I did a new substrate. For people who don't know, lion's mane is a mushroom that has neuroregenerative properties, apparently. And it seems to have really helped my peripheral neuropathy quite a bit. And Dr. Scott and I filmed what I thought was going to be my last performance of a piano piece ever, and I only got through 2/3 of it because my neuropathy was so bad. I'd like to start practicing it again, maybe try to do the whole thing, because I think I really think I could do it now, which is just testament to something working.
Yep.
But anyway, so I've got a new batch of lion's mane coming.
Well, you made a tincture and gave me a bottle of it.
Yeah.
I loved it. Yeah.
Yeah. You think it did anything for you?
I think it does. I mean, I think it's helpful. And, I don't have neuropathy like that. I deal more with, like irritable bowel kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I think calms that down a little bit.
Really?
To be honest with you. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, you got to figure it's all nerves.
Well,
it really is. It's just nerves.
The gut has a nervous system. It's called the second brain.
That's right. It's an emotional system. It's a very emotional system.
Yeah, that's true. Well, remember that is it Mariko Aoki? Is that the syndrome? Do you remember we talked about that?
No, I don't.
Okay, hang on a second. Mariko Aoki phenomenon. Let me read this to you because somebody asked me about this the other day. I think it was Tracy with an I on YouTube.
Okay.
Mariko Aoki phenomenon is an expression referring to a sudden urge to defecate that is felt upon entering bookstores.
Oh, I remember that. I do.
This phenomenon is named after Mariko Aoki, a woman who described the effect in a magazine article published in 1985. According to social psychologist Shozo Shibuya, the specific causes that trigger defecation urge in a bookstore are not yet clearly understood. Well, Seinfeld did a whole episode on that, where George took that book into the bathroom.
Right.
They made him buy it.
Oh, God. Yes.
There are some who are skeptical about whether this particular phenomenon really exists at all, sometimes discussed as an urban myth.
Mm-hmm.
But, again, how many times have you known that you probably had, needed to defecate at some point, and then you get close to the house, and then it gets worse. Right. And then as you get closer and closer to the actual John itself, it gets worse until you're almost, having an issue.
Almost, yes, almost in peril.
But it's so your brain knows, and then the enteric brain knows. It's like, okay.
Yes. It's very interesting, but they've said for years that irritable bowels and a lot of gastrointestinal distress is really a lot more emotional than it is because we used to tell people don't eat seeds and don't eat nuts and things like that because that would irritate the lining of the colon.
Yeah,
but
they were worried too that people with diverticulosis, those things would get stuck in there.
Yeah, sure,
because they're relatively indigestible, but we have pills that are like that too.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, the gastroenterologists all tell me that's bullshit now for diverticulosis.
Right. Yeah, I agree. And they used to tell you, especially like if you had ulcers and things of that nature, to eat really bland diets, eat potatoes and none of that stuff works.
It's the worst thing.
It's the worst thing you can do.
Carbohydrates.
Yep. Yeah. So what's really interesting, I think, with the lion's mane and some of the newer research on these edible mushrooms, not the psychedelic mushrooms, but the edible mushrooms, is that they really do have some great ability to calm the nervous system down.
Yeah, well, they're more complex than so many of the other small organisms are.
Right.
So it's really interesting, isn't it?
Well, and I think a lot of it's because growing underground, they pick up a lot of extra nutrients, maybe.
Well, that
an herb might get that's above ground. I don't know.
I've heard this mycelial network thing. I mean, I am not a mycologist, but that's trees and other things communicate.
Yeah.
And when I say communicate, it's not like they're like, how you doing over there? It's more just, hey, there's a threat over here, get your immune system cranked up or whatever.
Yeah. Or hey, it's getting ready to get cold. It's cold up here in the top of the trees.
I think they would know that, but anyway.
Yeah.
But I think the largest living thing on Earth is a fungus that lives underground.
Yeah, that's my understanding too.
Acres and acres and acres or square
it's
miles.
Like an underground subway system.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it is amazing, isn't it? But anyway, so they're pretty fascinating. I'm not surprised that they have some medicinal properties and that have been at least looked at in the medical literature and had some positive data. It's not all great. I mean, it's hard to fund a double-blind, placebo-controlled study on a mushroom that anybody could grow. Mm-hmm. The drug companies aren't really interested in that. The funders aren't. So you have these small sort of observational studies. That's the problem. Mm-hmm. But I can say with an N of 1 that I can tell a tangible difference.
And that's huge for you.
Yeah, it is.
It's nice to be able
That's why I'm growing them again.
Yeah, fill your fingers and toes.
Yeah, it is. It's nice.
It's kind of important.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, so I've got that going.
At least I got that going for me.
And what was the other thing we were going to talk about? Damn it.
We'll talk about, speaking of mushrooms and psychedelic mushrooms.
Yeah.
Phil Lesh.
Oh, yes, very good. Yes, correct.
Kind of a nice transition into...
yes, very good, Dr. Scott.
Thank you.
I'll give you sort of
myself a bell.
And then...
so, there you go.
Yeah, Phil Lesh, bassist and founding member of the Grateful Dead, died. He was 84.
84, yeah.
I always think of those guys being young, even though I know Jerry's gone. And, yeah. So what happened to him? It said he was originally a classical musician, played violin and trumpet, and then he in the 60s met a guy who was playing the banjo named Jerry Garcia.
Yep.
And do you remember the name of the rock band back then?
Were they called the...
I'll give you a bell if you get it right.
Hang on. Well, it was the Jug Band was Jerry's original band, and then their first band were the Warlocks.
There you go.
The Warlocks, yep.
Oops. Oh, I tried to give you
The Warlocks.
All right, there it is. Yes, exactly right. The Warlocks. And Lesh did not play the bass, but he already knew how to play, orchestral stringed instruments. So really, it's almost trivial to go, if you're a classical musician, to transition to the bass, particularly electric bass. Now, the string bass, there's a lot of technique involved in getting the intonation right, but even that, a violinist should be able to make that transition.
Yeah, sure. So. Violin and cellist too.
Yeah.
Those guys.
Yep. And so, Garcia wanted him to play the bass. He didn't play. He said, what the fuck? So,
why not?
Why not? And that was a fateful, pivotal decision for his life.
Yep.
The Grateful Dead was born.
Yeah, and he certainly made a lot of great changes to playing the bass and added extra strings.
Oh, God, yeah.
And all of the effects and things of that nature.
Yeah.
He was quite...
He really was just the perfect
musician.
Bass player for that band.
Yeah, because he could play every kind of music imaginable. That's hard to believe still that Jerry started out as a bluegrass picker.
Yeah.
And they had a jug band. And
it's not, though. That's hippies back then just thought all that kind of stuff. Like, if you listen to R. Crumb, Robert Crumb, he was the underground cartoonist.
Right. Yeah.
He did, Keep On Trucking thing and all that stuff. And he had a band.
Yeah.
The Suitcase Serenaders. And they played that old kind of kitschy 20s jazz kind of stuff, and
that's good stuff.
Had singing saws and, steel guitars and stuff like that. It was, and I've been on the street seeing sort of people that you would think are sort of, modern hippies playing old brass band jazz stuff, from the 20s and 30s.
Yeah, that great stuff just keeps coming back.
Well, yeah, because there's something about it that's like, well, that's sort of it's sort of hip now all of a sudden, and it was hip back then to be a hippie and be playing, Americana.
Yep. But
they admired people like Woody Guthrie and stuff
Woody
like
Guthrie
that
and Doc Watson. They were all huge fans of Doc Watson. And
I had a friend. He's now deceased, sadly, who taught Doc Watson his first chords on the guitar when they were both at the North Carolina School for the Blind.
Oh, my gosh.
His name was Paul Montgomery. He was the greatest jazz pianist that no one's ever heard of.
Oh, my gosh. And he was blind.
Yeah, he was blind.
Holy cow.
Yeah, he used to do a show on WRAL TV called The Uncle Paul Show. And at the end of the thing, they would say, okay, now we're going to march. And they would just march around the studio. All the kids would get, and they would just march, and Uncle Paul just march around in a circle. I don't know if any of that still exists on YouTube somewhere, but if you can find WRAL TV Uncle Paul Show. And odds are I did video or camera.
Oh, my gosh. About what year would that? Just roughly what year? 70s?
Okay, yes. So I graduated college in 77, and I went to medical school in 82. So it would have been, I was there from 77 to 79.
Gotcha.
And I did all the coaches shows, Jim Valvano. I knew him.
Jim, yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I knew him during the, it was before the cardiac pack business.
Yeah.
But while he was, and I knew Storm and Norman Sloan too.
Oh my gosh!
And Mike Krzyzewski. Wow. Now, of all the ones that were the most gregarious, it was Dean Smith. He would come in and go, "Hi, I'm Dean Smith. Hey, good to meet you." And he would meet everybody on the crew. He should have been a politician.
How funny! I could see that Dean Smith. He looked like he kind of acted like a politician.
We only had him for 1 year. Channel 11 got him after, before and after. But there was somebody in our company that knew him, enticed him to come over.
Wow.
But what that meant was I had to spend the night, Saturday night at the studio, because I had to be back. We did a show at after show.
Okay.
After the game.
That's right, after game. Yeah,
and then we would do the Sunday morning shows.
Wow.
Well, if I went
late.
home, I lived an hour away from the studio.
Oh, geez.
So I would go home, maybe get an hour's sleep and have to drive right back. So I'd just spend the night at the studio, which no one ever said, wow, hey, great job.
Hey, thanks for doing
bro.
this. Thanks for doing this,
That's
buddy.
why I went to medical school. Seriously, I got so tired of getting yelled at by people who were stupider than me.
Yeah.
And you hear me, Paul Pope? Just saying.
He drove you to medical school, that bastard.
Yeah, no, good. Thank God.
But yeah, I agree.
Thank God.
I agree. I would have loved to have met Jimmy Valvano. I bet he was a nut, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a nice guy.
Yes,
he
seemed really nice. Yeah.
He was just a nice guy.
Yeah.
Krzyzewski, I never spoke a word to him. He never looked at me, nothing, never any attention to the crowd. But I never was offended by that. I just always thought that he was, shy or whatever. Now I would say he was maybe a little bit on the spectrum. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, that's how you would say it now.
Sure. That makes sense.
But he would talk to the host. He would come in, sit down, talk to the person interviewing him, and then he would leave and never spoke to any of us.
Yeah.
Valvano was kind of between him and Dean Smith,
Yeah.
and then Dean Smith was just all over everybody.
How funny. How funny. That's
Saying-
cool. That's a good story.
Yeah, it's fun. There's no story there.
Well, no, I
exactly,
mean
but
those are some interesting characters for sure.
Yeah, no, it was fun. Oh, well, I mean, now the coaches, then I also, through working at that station, met and worked with Ric Flair, Wahoo McDaniel, Blackjack Mulligan, Greg Valentine, Mr. Wrestling Tim Woods, Ricky Steamboat, and I'm missing it. Oh, Baron von Raschke and Mighty Igor, the Polish Prince.
Oh my God.
So, and Gene and Ole Anderson. I forgot about them. So, in other words, I did camera and audio engineering for Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling
my gosh.
and Wide World of Wrestling, which were exactly the same thing, by the way. They had a banner up, and they would just flip the banner around. Oh, yeah, between shows. Why, I don't know, but back then, the wrestling show was a loss leader.
Okay.
So they would pay to put those shows on these channels late at night on Saturday. And so we would do two shows on Wednesday night, and then one was Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, one was Wide World of Wrestling. And, they'd have all the announcers and the wrestlers all, And then they shipped it out to 35 different stations in the Southeast. Around where they would have Dorton Arena and Greensboro Coliseum and stuff like that, where they would do the live shows. So there were 35 TV stations, 2 commercials each. They never did the same commercial. So we had to do 70 commercials every Wednesday before we did the show. So you had to do them like this, You couldn't mess around because it was those commercials where the announcers, tonight in Dorton Arena, a Texas chainsaw match with Wahoo McDaniel. And then they Wahoo McDaniel, Blackjack Mulligan, if you're listening. And of course, he's listening. He's sitting right there. He had to. You couldn't do 70 of these things without all of them being in the room at the same time.
And then you do the same thing for the next
yes, and then,
venue, the next venue.
Exactly.
Oh, how funny.
Yeah, they do two commercials for each, and they would insert them into the show to get people. So they would set up all the conflicts on the TV show, and then they would resolve them at the live show.
Wow.
And that's where they made all their money was in filling these coliseums with people.
Oh, man. That's funny.
Yeah. The crowd that would come to the WRAL show, it was free, and some of them would come every week. I remember there was this old guy who had no teeth, and he would sit there right in the middle of the crowd on the bleachers, and he'd yell like that. He's just always yelling at the bad guys. And the foreman, the floor manager, he would call them all Rhodes Scholars. He'd say, "Well, here come those Rhodes Scholars." He was floor manager at a TV station in Raleigh. He wasn't much in much of a position to make fun of them. But Yeah, here come the Rhodes Scholars. So one week he brought a bag of peanuts like in the shell and gave them to the guy with no teeth and said, "Here you go." And the guy was like, "What am I supposed to do with these?"
Oh, that's awful.
It was awful. We were assholes. I mean, it was the 70s, at late 70s. Nobody was an asshole.
Yeah, I was going to say they're all assholes then, I guess, one thing.
But anyway, we got off topic. Paul Montgomery, and he taught Doc Watson how to play, and Phil Lesh and them were fans of Doc Watson. So I guess I'm I'm 2, 3 degrees from Phil Lesh then because of that.
Yeah, could be, yeah. Isn't that wild?
Yeah. If you guys find any videos of Paul Montgomery, I've never really looked, but if there's any of him playing piano, I've never seen anything like it. I begged him to just teach me.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And to be blind and to be able to just master the keyboard like that.
It's incredible.
I mean, he had severely diminished vision. He had these big, thick glasses, and he could, if he took his watch and held it right up in front of his glasses, he could just make out the time.
Dang.
That's how bad it was.
Oof.
But yep. So all those guys went to North Carolina School for the Blind, and there you go.
Super talented folks.
Yep. Well, I guess heaven needed a feller that played in a band.
That's right, another bass player.
I hate when people say that shit. All right. I did want to talk a little bit about a thing that is near and dear to our heart, and this was recommended to me by Amanda Davidson, one of our mods in the Fluid family. If you want to join the Fluid family, by the way, go to youtube.com/@weirdmedicine and just subscribe, and click the notify button. You'll be notified when we go live. Follow us at Weird Medicine on X. And if you click join and then click accept gifted memberships, even if you're not there, Myrtle Manus usually gives out a few memberships every show. And you may get a free membership. And there, I do have some members-only content in there. So anyway, this is a phase 1 clinical trial. So remember what phase 1 means is you're just making sure that whatever you're doing isn't killing people, and maybe you'll get a little bit of data that it might be effective. So you're just looking for effectiveness and safety. Then phase 2, you expand that, primarily looking at safety at that point. Then phase 3 is your big trial where you may go from 300 people to 30,000 people. This is pre-marketing. And you're looking for rare adverse events and what's the absolute or relative efficacy of this medication. Is it better than placebo? Mm-hmm. And then phase 4 trials are aftermarket. So once it goes on the market, that's when you find the truly rare stuff, the 1 in 10 million stuff.
Gotcha.
But anyway, so this is current results from this phase 1 clinical trial of a novel vaccine from the Cleveland Clinic, were presented at the San Antonio Breast Cancer Symposium. This was back several months ago. And the trial was created to determine vaccine safety and dosage profiles in patients with early triple-negative breast cancer. So this is not preventative. This is a treatment vaccine. Okay. And this was funded by the Department of Defense.
Wow.
I don't know why. So the ultimate goal of the vaccine is to prevent this triple-negative breast cancer. So when they say triple-negative breast cancer, what they're talking about is it is hormone receptor negative.
Okay.
And so if you have breast cancer that has estrogen receptors on it or progestin receptors on it, you can treat that by blocking estrogen and progestin, right? Okay. If it's negative, you don't have that.
Okay, that's
and
not
there's another thing called HER2, if it's HER2 positive, you can treat those. It's usually more aggressive, but it's easier to treat with a medication called Herceptin.
Okay.
So I'm not an oncologist. So oncologists, if I got any of that wrong, let me know. But if it's triple negative, you can only treat it with chemo and radiation. That's all you've got. There's no hormonal modification.
And I would assume surgery?
Well, yeah, of course. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, it is the most aggressive type of breast cancer. And so what they're looking at is this thing called the retired protein hypothesis. And it's that there are proteins that are produced in the body at specific times and in specific tissues and not at other times in other tissues. Those proteins are overexpressed in some cancers, and they're derived from the tissues in which the protein is normally expressed. So there's this protein, alpha-lactalbumin or lactalbumin. It's made of in lactating breasts, but not at other times or in other tissues. So you only produce it when you're lactating. It's only produced in the breast. In women past childbearing age, it's no longer expressed. It's undetectable in normal breast tissue, but it's expressed at high levels in 70% of these triple-negative breast cancers. So they found that targeting that in mice was effective in preventing breast tumors. So they have these mice that are genetically altered to be at high risk for certain cancers and stuff. They breed them that way. And so they tried this, so they inspired this vaccine's invention. And so they're developing a vaccine against alpha-lactalbumin or lactalbumin. It's albumin, so lactalbumin. That's weird. I've never seen that word before. So I'm not 100% sure if it's lactalbumin or lactalbumin. But they're trying to attack those cancer cells that make too much. And so what the phase 1 clinical trial is looking to determine the dose. So, what's too little, what's too much.
Sure.
And so they'll try different doses and stuff. And then it says more than half of the patients in this trial produced T-cell responses against this alpha-lactalbumin. And so we don't know yet. This doesn't do anything about, it's actually preventing the cancer. All they know is that what they gave the patients was a safe dose, and half of them did produce a T-cell response.
Okay.
So maybe they give them a little bit more, three-fourths produce the same response.
Okay.
But anyway, they've been studying patients with this early stage triple negative, so stage 1, maybe stage 2, that are completing treatment, but they're at risk for recurrence. And then now they're looking to see if they could use this as a preventative vaccine. So, it says that the long-term hopes for the vaccine or the risk of recurrence can be reduced in patients, and that the risk of getting it at all can be decreased. But they're emphasizing long-term as a lengthy process. This is not an mRNA vaccine. So it's going to take a while for it to be developed. All right? So pretty interesting.
That's pretty cool.
Listen, I'm looking forward to the Star Trek age when we're just prevent all these diseases. And that they're just gone. We beat their asses because they suck. All right? You got anything?
I like it.
All right.
Well, we were going to talk about your you and Liam doing a new.
Oh yeah, it's true. Yes. So the reason we're doing this early today is because I have to go to the casino, and because I won a jackpot playing Ultimate Texas Hold'em.
Okay.
And you go, well, how do you win a jackpot? Well, there are these side bets. And I had bet my regular bet, but this time I had bet this thing called the bad beat.
Okay.
And I had also bet this thing called the trips bet. So the bad beat bet works if you and the dealer both have 3 of a kind or better, and somebody wins, as long as you don't push. As long as somebody wins, you get paid on the least of those. So like if they have 3 of a kind and you have a full house, you get paid on whatever the pay table says for 3 of a kind.
Okay.
If you have 3 of a kind and they have quads, you're still only going to get paid for the 3 of a kind, right? So you get paid on the lower thing, but it doesn't matter who wins. If you win or they win, you still get paid. Well, anyway, so I had the dealer had come over, or the pit boss had come over for something, and he was leaving, and I looked at my cards after they flipped over theirs. I said, John, you better stay.
Yeah.
Because I had 4 of a kind, which is a huge hand. And the dealer had a full house.
Okay.
So I got paid for the quads on the trips bet. I got paid for my original bet, which was 4 times my original bet. And then I got paid like $1,000 for the bad beat bet.
Oh, wow.
And so I ended up walking away from that one hand with $1,500. And then which is extremely unusual, by the way. It was a really nice hand. Probably the one I'll be talking about forever.
My best hand ever.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Yep.
You know, to have
cool.
quads against that, and they were like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, that's cool.
It shut the table down while they had to figure out, you know, how much they actually owed me and all this stuff. Anyway, it was fun. So they gave me, because of that, they gave me a ticket that said, if you show up on this day, which is October 26th, at 2 p.m. and drop this thing into the tub from 2 p.m. until 10 p.m., they're going to be drawing every 15 minutes, and one of the prizes is $1 million. So that's why we're doing this now, and that's why, you know, it's fortuitous that I decided not to go to Detroit, because WATP is in Detroit. This happened after I decided not to go.
Oh, my goodness.
Because I would be so pissed if I was in Detroit right now and they were having this drawing and somebody else won.
Oh, my gosh.
Money. So yeah, Liam and I are going. Well,
That's
anyway,
hilarious.
So I turned Liam on to blackjack. My son is 21, and he's pretty straight edge. He is fascinated with just the math,
but he loves numbers,
and the psychology of and he loves numbers.
Yeah.
So I taught him blackjack basic strategy, and then he learned it on his own in a weekend.
Yep.
And he did 500 hands on a simulator, didn't get a single thing wrong.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. In one weekend.
That doesn't surprise
I
me.
still, you know, so I took him to, I said, well, you're ready. And that was the same day I won the quads. He won like, you know, he took $500 and ran it up to like $850 or something like that. And then took it back down to $700 and then quit, which is pretty good head on the shoulders.
Yeah.
And he's not showed any signs of becoming a degenerate gambler, because, you know, you always worry about that when you turn your kids onto something like that. Well, anyway, the other day I was showing him a website where they have like online slot machines, and they do it through this sweepstakes thing. You buy gold coins, which are fake, you know, they're just gold coins. But when you buy those gold coins, you get a certain number of sweepstakes coins. And weirdly, coincidentally, you get the same number of sweepstakes coins for however many dollars you spent on those gold coins. So if you spent $100 and get 1 million gold coins, weirdly and coincidentally, you get 100 sweepstakes coins, right? And you can trade those in for actual money.
Interesting.
So anyway, I was showing him one of those websites, and because they can't use proprietary slot machines like in the casino, right? Because those are proprietary. There are these companies that just make up their own. And I don't know if you remember. I'm older than you, but when we were kids, they used to have these things. They were romance comics. I guess they were designed for girls, and they always have like a pink cover and hearts and stuff, and a guy, you know, walking away, and the girl going, "Oh no, you know, I'll never, you know, love again," and all this stuff. You know what I'm talking about at all? They were comic books.
Yep.
Well, they have a slot machine like that.
Oh my gosh!
And it was hilarious. And we were flipping through this thing. I said, "Look at this!" And like these lips come out, and they go like that. And I said, and we were laughing so hard at this stupid slot machine. I said, we need to do a channel where we do one a night. And I'll put $20 in. We'll do it at the lowest thing just so we can flip through. You'll have 20 or you have 100 bets. So you have a decent chance of getting the bonus and seeing what it's like and all that stuff, and just make fun of it or not if it turns out to be awesome.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to do that, because he and I are actually opening a gambling school too. And it's not to encourage people to gamble. It's to encourage people to stop losing so much money. Because it's a numbers class, and why can you not beat the house edge no matter what fucking system you come up with? Stop thinking you can beat the house edge on roulette, for God's sake. No matter if you run the numbers, it's always 5.6% house average, no matter how you stack the numbers. Even if you cover every single number.
Yeah.
That's how you know. You cover every single number so you can't lose.
Yep.
you're still, when they pay you off, you're losing 5.6%.
Holy cow.
You know?
Yep. That's insane, isn't it?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, those guys, there's a reason they're palaces, you know.
Yes. No, so if you pay 35 to 1 for getting a number right, but you have 38 slots on your thing, on your wheel, then you should be paying 38 to 1, but you're only paying 35 to 1.
Right.
And that difference is the house edge. Now, yes, you could go in there and pick 24, and they could roll 24 3 times, and you win a shitload of money.
Sure.
That will happen. But the only way that you can keep that money is if you never go back. So gamble with money you can afford to lose.
Yep.
But also what I teach is don't gamble with any money that you're going to be mad if you lose it. You have to be able to laugh at it if you lose. Like, oh, my God, that was effing ridiculous. You know? Yeah. Or that was stupid.
Right, yeah.
And you have to be able to laugh at it.
Yeah, sure. That makes sense.
And, the dealers have even remarked to me, I lost a bad beat on it was Ultimate Poker or something like that. I just said, well, that's poker, because it is.
It is, yeah.
Bad beats are part of poker. Yep. If you get mad, if you're Phil Hellmuth, who I admire, but if you just get mad when an amateur beats you because they do something stupid, well, they beat you. I mean, yes, if you played against them for a year, you would take everything they've got.
Sure.
But that's just part of gambling is what you're doing is you're riding these statistical waves. And when they're in your favor, then, you can walk away with some money. But if you keep going back over all, you will lose to the house edge. That's how statistics work.
Yes.
But anyway. And statistics, by the way, the dice don't have any memory.
No.
Because they rolled 7 3 times in a row doesn't mean that the next roll is going to be anything but a 7. It's the odds are exactly the same.
Still can be a 7. Yep.
You can never say you are on a streak. You can only say you were on a streak. And so one of the things that he and I are going to teach are like craps. Why is it set up the way it is? Why is it set up that you get 2 to 1 if you bet, if the number's a 4 before and you roll that before you roll a 7? Well, the reason is there's 6 ways to roll a 7 and 3 ways to roll a 4, so the odds are 2 to 1. And craps, that's the only game where they will pay you true odds. Yeah. So that kind of stuff. So we're going to do all that. But we thought doing a website or a YouTube channel where all we do is just review silly slot machines online.
So how is he going to have time to do all that in finishing school? Because he's getting towards the end of his studies,
because he's getting toward the end, he has more time.
Gotcha.
But, he comes home every weekend.
Yeah, okay. That's
for
cool.
a day, at least a few hours. So we'll just do it then.
That's cool.
Yeah. So anyway.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah, so thank you for bringing that up. So watch out for that. I'll let you know where it is. I think it's going to be Stitts on gaming, but
how fun.
I have another channel.
Cool.
So, all right. The Stitts brothers. Vinny and I don't know who the other one is. All right.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. And one thing I've learned is that you buy a house, but you make it a home. Because with every fix, update, and renovation, it becomes a little more your own. So you need all your jobs done well. For nearly 30 years, Angie has helped millions of homeowners hire skilled pros for the projects that matter. From plumbing to electrical, roof repair to deck upgrades. So leave it to the pros who will get your jobs done well. Hire high-quality certified pros at Angie.com.
Today's episode is brought to you by Angie. Angie has made it easier than ever to connect with skilled professionals to get all your jobs and projects done well. Let me tell you, there's the version of it where you try to do something at home, and then there's a version of it where you have someone help you, you watch them do it the right way, and you go, thank God I didn't try to do that myself. I have fully done things around the home that I think look good, and then a bang in the night, and I wake up to a shelf collapsing, a painting falling off the wall. I've seen it all go south. I own a home, and I can tell you, I know how much work it can take. Whether it's everyday maintenance and repairs or making dream projects a reality, it can be hard just to know where to start. But now all you need to do is Angie that and find a skilled local pro who will deliver the quality and expertise you need. Whatever your home project, big or small, indoor or outdoor. You can Angie that and connect with skilled professionals to get the project done well. Right now, one of my wish lists is I want a bike for my condo in Milwaukee, and I would love to rig it up on a pulley in the ceiling because I have one of those like lofted ceilings, but I'm so scared to try that on my own. Angie has 20 years of home experience, and they've combined it with new tools to simplify the whole process. Bring them your project online or with the Angie app. Answer a few questions and Angie can handle the rest from start to finish, or help you compare quotes from multiple pros and connect instantly, which means you can take care of any home project in just a few taps. Because when it comes to getting the most out of your home, you can do this when you Angie that. Download the free Angie mobile app today or visit Angie.com. That's ANGI.com.
Seriously, Diane, was Colgate your secret to winning Best Smile back in high school?
Yep, and it still is. I even work overnight.
Huh?
Colgate's Optic White Overnight Whitening Pen works overnight. So after 1 week, I can show up confident and reunion ready.
And here I was bragging about my kids.
Colgate Optic White. Find it at all major retailers.
With an hour before boarding, there's only one place to go. The Chase Sapphire Lounge by the club. There, you can recharge before the big adventure. Or enjoy a locally inspired dish. You could recline in a comfy chair to catch up on your favorite show. Or order a craft cocktail at the bar. Whatever you're in the mood for, find the detail that moves you with curated touches at the Chase Sapphire Lounge by the club. Chase, make more of what's yours. Learn more at chase.com/Sapphire Reserve.
Cards issued by J.P. Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC. Subject to credit approval.
Prep for Thanksgiving at Whole Foods Market. Save now on no antibiotics ever frozen whole turkey. Just $1.49 a pound with Prime. Sales on brie and select seafood appetizers help get things started. For sides, go with wallet-happy favorites from 365 by Whole Foods Market. And finish with decadent desserts from the bakery. Or get your whole spread catered. Just order early. Get Thanksgiving ready at Whole Foods Market. Terms apply.
What else you got?
Well, we were talking earlier about the neuropathy, and it got me to thinking about peripheral neuropathy specifically in the feet.
Yeah.
So I looked up a little.
When we talk about neuropathy, we're talking about damaged nerves causing pain or numbness and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I took it one step.
That's my
further.
job.
Yeah, but just thinking about balance, and how many people we have that have balance issues because the nerves are damaged in their feet. And there was a thing on CNN that I saw the other day that was talking about the determining factor, or one of the, not the determinant, but you can get an idea about how healthy you are is in regards to your fall risk by being able to balance on one leg. So they call it the flamingo stand.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And the bottom line is...
I can't do it. I can't even walk a straight line anymore.
Yeah. See, well, and what we teach a lot in our clinic a lot is stand to sit, being able to stand and sit without assistance, which is good.
I can do that.
Yep. And then the flamingo, so you pick your leg up and then you're going to... if you can stand like that without falling down. So the rule of thumb is 30 seconds or longer for those that are below the age of 70.
Oh, okay. What about me?
So you're below 70. So
okay. Well, I've been doing a minute now.
Oh, at least yeah. So
okay,
you should.
I'm good.
That's a good thing. Can you do on the other leg though?
Oh, fuck off.
Yeah.
Actually, that seems easier.
Does it seem easy? Well, good.
Well, that's weird. Oh, that's because I'm right-footed.
And then 20 seconds for people 70 to 80, and then 10 seconds for those older than 80. And that just kind of helps to determine, your fall risk.
Okay.
And B, your overall strength. And then what we'll have people do in our office, too, is we'll have them practice stand to sit without assistance, which is what you did. So without having to push up with our arms.
Now, from the floor,
no, from a chair.
Okay, because I've seen the one where if you can do it from the floor, then you're really in good shape. But I can't do that.
Oh, God. Well, I've seen actually people, that can do the one leg down to the floor.
Oh, yeah. I think I could do that.
No, you could, and then you would be...
I used to be able to do one-handed push-ups, and I could do the push-ups where you push up and then you clap, in between. I wonder if I could still do that. I'm so out of shape.
Yeah, we're all pretty deconditioned at this point.
I've got to do better.
All right, we'll make that our mission. But after the
well, I used to have a friend that I worked out with. Mm-hmm. And I can't remember his name, but he was a ham radio operator, and his name is starting to come to me, but it doesn't matter. he and I would challenge each other because we were kind of like bros. We weren't friends. You know, we were sort of, hey, I'll see you. And then we would compete on who could, do the max on the curl machine and stuff like that. We got to the point where both of us could curl the max on the machine.
Okay.
And that was the best shape I've ever been in my life because it was, not grossly competitive, but just mildly competitive. And we pushed each other.
That's good.
And one of my nurse practitioner partners bought the same bike that I have, and we were going to encourage each other and race against each other. It's like a Peloton. It's the Nordic track version of the Peloton.
Cool. Yeah.
And we were going to do all that, and she's never got on the first time she bought it. And it's a great place to hang clothes. I'll tell you that. It works really good for that.
It does.
But I am, by God, I put it in a new place, and I am, by God, going to get on there. If I could just get my sorry ass out of bed early enough and do it first thing in the morning, that would be the best.
You know what I started doing this morning?
Tell me.
Cold water therapy. I
used to do that. I'm too lazy.
I went up and sat in my pool this morning before I came over here.
You feel so good when you're done.
Yeah, it's wild. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
I used to do the cold water plunge.
Yep.
And then go back and forth between the hot tub and that to exercise my circulatory system.
It is. It's extremely refreshing.
Yeah, it is.
There's got to be some science behind it somewhere.
Of course.
I'll have to find it.
Well, cold water, true cold will decrease inflammation and stuff like that.
When I saw a little clip the other day, and I didn't get to watch much of it, but evidently if the cold water to a certain degree for 3 minutes will stimulate your liver into producing some kind of
bullshitting and get to the question.
Some kind of liver, yes. I'm sorry, some kind of liver enzyme to make you feel better. Okay,
really?
I'll do some research on it.
I want to hear about that. It sounds like
I said, I just saw a clip. All right, questions.
Yep.
Number one thing, don't take advice from some asshole on the radio.
If anybody's still listening, I'm sure we'd bore them to death. But I was very entertained.
Yes, it was fun.
It's all about me.
Hey, Dr. Steve. I sent you an inline message hoping you could help out. And hello to any other illustrious members we have. I'm so sorry about the terrible things that have been happening weather-wise
in
your community, and hope you're all doing well. I know it might be a while, but just trying to get back at it, and thought I'd leave a voicemail as well as the...
Yeah, thanks, Matt. We'll be okay on that as far as doing shows and stuff. But the area, my shrink lived through this one, and she also lived through Katrina.
Oh, no.
And she's from New Orleans, and I just said, and she said it'll take years and years, and I said, well, it's been decades now. When did Katrina happen? It was during George Bush, right?
The second, yeah. It was 2020 because we
could look it up.
Yeah, we had a resident here in Kings. That was her name was Katrina, so it was like 2004. I want to say maybe.
Okay, yeah, August 2005.
Okay, gotcha.
And she said, I said, is New Orleans ever? I haven't been back there since Katrina.
No.
I went to school there. Yeah. And I said, is it come back? Is it? She said, yeah, but it's not what it was.
Not the same,
it's different. It's different, and this will be different too.
Yeah. But we've had to reroute all the interstates and stuff around here.
Yeah.
It's been a mess.
Yeah. But anyway, thank you for your well wishes.
Yeah,
Let's see what his question is. Did you have a question?
Text, just to make sure that you had something that you could use. Anyway, to cut things short, my daughter has a rash, and the pictures speak for themselves. I had to, of course, withhold the chest picture with the bra on, of course. I'm her father. But this young girl's got this rash going on since, it's been about 5, 7, 6 days, and didn't get much help at the prompt care. They didn't do any labs. She hasn't been on any hikes, no new detergents.
I will say that there aren't a whole lot of labs to do when you got a rash unless you're toxic. Like if you're sick, then like a rickettsial rash, like Rocky Mountain spotted fever or something like that, then there's lab work to do. But if you've got a healthy kid with a rash, the pediatricians see that stuff every day, and they don't get too excited about it usually.
Soaps or lotions, and essentially I'm just trying to get down to the bottom of what it might be. I thought it could be contact dermatitis.
Nope.
But You know, it's just hard to tell. They basically just prescribed the typical inflammation rash type meds, and I don't even know if they went so far as to prescribe Pepcid just to give it a shot because it's free. But if you
Pepcid they'll give because it's an antihistamine.
Mm-hmm.
What people don't understand is that the Pepcids of the world, famotidine, ranitidine when it was on the market, cimetidine, those things are H2 blockers. So they're the histamine receptor number 2 blockers. And they can have, like if you got somebody with a really bad itchy rash and you give them an H1 blocker like Benadryl or fexofenadine or something like that, you can give them on top of that, you could give them famotidine or something like that, Pepcid. And although it doesn't have the drowsy effect and is not classically associated with anti-itch, it can be helpful. So that's probably why they did that.
could look at that, that'd be great.
Yeah, so it's really hard to do this from pictures, and particularly the pictures that are sent from a cell phone to our voicemail thing is very difficult. But what I saw was a back that was covered with what we would call papules.
Papules, okay.
And it almost looked like they were maculopapules. So in other words, they're flat but dots at the same time. And it almost looked like somebody took a pencil eraser and just went tick, 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 all over her back in sort of a Christmas tree, which I could imagine sort of a Christmas tree arrangement. This, to me, looks like a thing called pityriasis rosea, and it's a skin rash. It usually, though, will start with a larger patch called a herald patch. And that herald patch, it's like, like the old heralds making an announcement, and the herald patch is announcing that pityriasis is coming. But usually starts with that single scaly patch, and then it's pinkish with red edges. And if you have darker skin, it could be grayish. And it usually appears on the chest and back and abdomen. It lasts 6 to 8 weeks, but can last up to 12 weeks. And usually doesn't have a lot of symptoms that come with it, although every once in a while someone will swear they have a sore throat or a headache or something like that with it. And it usually affects people aged, young people, 10 to 35. And they'll give you hydrocortisone creams, antihistamines, and sometimes they'll try ultraviolet light, but, nobody knows anything. Now, there is, one of the questions he said is, she's got a new boyfriend, could this be herpes? No, it's not herpes. Herpes is a cluster of, a grape-like cluster of painful, tiny blisters that ulcerate and make shallow ulcers. And so that's not this. The reason people think it's herpes is its pityriasis has also been called herpes tonsurans maculosis. But that doesn't mean it's caused by the herpes virus. Matter of fact, I still don't think that they know what causes it. Herpes simply means like lizard-like.
Okay.
If I remember.
Okay.
So anyway, all right. So I think that's what it is. But listen, it doesn't matter what my diagnosis is. It could be scarlet fever too, for all I know, from looking at the pictures, because you can be fooled looking at pictures.
Yes.
See a dermatologist.
Yeah.
If the pediatrician doesn't know what it is, see a dermatologist. Now, listen, the one thing I'm going to tell you is, if you go to the dermatologist and I'm right and it is pityriasis, you need to find a different primary doctor, because anybody should be able to diagnose that just by looking at it. Okay. Which makes me think maybe that's not what it is. But anyway. All right.
Yeah, rashes are tough.
Yeah, they are.
They're tough.
Now, if you have little sort of dome-like things with central depressions in them, those are a thing called molluscum contagiosum, and those are easy to get rid of. You just pull the core out of one of them, and the immune system sees it and goes and kills all the other ones. There's a bunch of pediatric rashes, but most people are up on all of those.
Right.
Okay? They should be anyway. All right.
Hello, folks. I hope you all are
hey
doing well and everything.
Hey, man.
I'm going to confess my ignorance here.
Okay.
I got a question I've always wondered about. And I
You mean
figured
again?
This might be a good time to ask. Women's menstrual cycles.
Yeah.
How do they ever sync up? Because you hear people like in my office.
Yeah, you hear people talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Menstrual cycles syncing up when a bunch of women work together. All their menses are synced up. And turns out they have studied this, 1,500 people, and they studied these women and found that living together not only didn't increase the likelihood of their periods syncing, the study found that periods were more likely to become more separate over time. Now, whether that's statistical or if that's evolutionary, kind of makes sense. If you're all synced up and you got one or two men, they can only get one of you pregnant. But if you have menstrual cycles that are as far away from each other as they can get, then you're more likely to get pregnant with this one guy that's kind of going around making them rounds, you know. So studies have shown that it's not pheromones, that it's probably a statistical coincidence, because when you have multiple cycles frequently, they will cross.
Ultimately, they
will.
If you're together long
enough.
At
some point, yes, they will always
yeah.
cross. That doesn't mean they will always cross every single time. Yeah. But we tend to remember things like that. You don't remember the times when your periods weren't synced up.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I had a coworker. I could always tell where she was in her period because we were friends, and I could go, "Oh, you're 3 days, after your period," because I could tell by the way she acted.
Oh yeah, Lord, yeah. If you're paying attention, it doesn't take much to figure it out.
She had 2 weeks of acting a certain way, then a week of acting a certain way, and then a week of acting a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And they were very distinct, and I could always tell. But anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not too many women. And by the way, if you're not friends on a level like that, don't be talking about their period. Well, are you on your period because you're acting like you are? It's like, shut up. we had a different sort of friendship, so I could get away with it. Anyway. All right, well, let's do some other questions, Dr. Scott.
Okay.
I've got this one here that I think is worthy of our attention.
Hey, Dr. Steve, Jonathan here.
Hey, Jonathan.
Just want to say thanks for all you've done over the last 15 years. I've been listening to your podcast.
15? Jesus.
Been around for a long time.
We're almost at 20.
Yep.
Wait a minute. We are at 20.
Yeah,
I did the first one in 2005.
Yeah.
Isn't that right? Or was it 2007?
No, it was 5 because I had just got married. And I remember coming over here and you being like, shouldn't you be, like celebrating your anniversary or something like that? Yes. Yeah. I'd rather be here.
I got to look and see when our first show was. It was either 2005 or 2007.
No, it had to be before 7. I would think.
Okay. I'll look.
And
isn't that weird?
You
I
guys
don't
kind of
know.
inspired me to have a career change here. So I've started going to college at night, going to night school.
Yeah.
And,
cool.
And after 6 years of going to college and working part-time in DMT to get my patient care hours, I was finally accepted to physician assistant school.
Hell yeah.
So I'll be starting next year, 42 years old. So
nothing wrong with that.
Any of your listeners out there thinking about giving a career change, it's never too late to start.
I totally agree. We had a woman in my class that was 44. Yep. And we had another woman, and her name was Pat, and I won't dox her further than that, but she had a baby 6 weeks before medical school started.
Ooh.
And that was her 4th.
Ooh.
And her husband said, you can go to medical school, but I'm not cooking and cleaning.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so she did all of that. So I had mad respect for her. She ended up doing, I think, OBGYN and then did a second fellowship in pathology.
Wow.
Yeah, or residency in pathology. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
Yeah, she's really something.
But anyway, just want to say thanks for all for opening my eyes to a field I didn't think I would even be qualified for.
Yeah, man.
And if I guess I had a question for you, it'd be what advice would you give to somebody becoming a new provider today? Thank you.
Yeah, just don't be an asshole.
Yeah, I was going to say, pick up a book called The Zen of Listening.
Okay, yeah.
And read that book and learn how to be a fucking listener, because I'm telling you right now, and Dr. Steve, I think, agrees with me on this.
Yep.
Your patients are telling you what's wrong with them. It's our job to interpret.
Yep.
They can't say it in
That's
language.
our biggest complaint.
Yeah,
when people come
learn
to me,
fucking listen.
They say, you're the first person that's actually listened to me. It's like, well, that should not be the case.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yep.
And try to get to yes. What I teach all of the people that train under me is this philosophy that you can say no to stuff, but you need to say yes to something else.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I don't treat chronic non-malignant pain. That's you do that.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And, the physiatrists, physical medicine rehab people do. And so I don't do chronic low back pain. So if somebody comes to me and says, can you give me, oxycodone for my chronic low back pain, I have to say no, but I can say it in a way that I'm saying yes to something else. So I can say, I'm really not, I can't do that. It's not my thing. But I got a friend, that's all he does, and let me hook you up with him.
Agreed.
Always try to say yes to someone. We've got so many people that just say no to shit.
Just no and walk off with, hey, that's not what I do.
Well, it's like no, just no. And I've even, I can't tell the story. But we had an agency that just said no to something that a patient really wanted, and they ended up doing a completely diametrically opposite thing because they got so mad, and they ended up, in a really bad situation. So try to say yes, figure out a way to say yes, problem solve, be your patient's problem solver.
Meet them where they are. It's their journey. Yeah. Don't just treat them with your tools. It's their journey. Help them find their path.
But think about it though. It's not when you hear hoof prints in Upper East Tennessee, or hoof beats behind you, sometimes it will be a zebra.
Yep, could be.
Every once in a while, it's not impossible. Yep. So don't forget the zebra. But there are times when I've had people come in saying, well, my primary care never called me about my MRI. And so I never got it scheduled. And so I'm like, I just yell out, Patricia, will you set up an MRI for them right now? And I tell them, before you leave here, you'll have an appointment. It's not that hard.
No, it's not. It just takes effort.
And people, I took my FMLA form to my primary care and they didn't fill it out for 2 weeks. It's just been sitting there. It's like, well, I'll do one. I can print it out and do it right now.
Very second.
So do stuff like that.
I do the same thing.
Make your patient's life better, and then they will love you.
Yep.
It's not just about that, but that's a nice benefit.
It's a good start. Anyway.
So
good
congratulations.
Luck, brother. Yeah, good luck.
You know who else I saw just the other day? I saw Ahmed.
Sure. Up in West Virginia.
Right. Now, he was our guy who was just fiddle farting around in Saudi Arabia, somehow came across our show. I think he was an Opie and Anthony fan. Somehow he came across Opie and Anthony, and then from there ended up with us, and he got turned on to medicine.
Right on.
And went to medical school in Saudi Arabia. And then he got a residency in West Virginia. Yep. And by the way, University of West Virginia, that place is amazing.
It's gorgeous, isn't it?
Morgantown, West Virginia. Hell, I thought I was going to be going to some dinky little podunk bullshit. It was amazing.
Good stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. I did grand rounds up there. And
oh, did you?
Yep.
Oh, cool.
Yep. So, I got to see Ahmed, and I met his friend Tim, who is just this incredible intellect, and he's a ham radio operator too.
Oh gosh!
So I actually ordered him a little computer-defined radio from this company in Turkey. It's like the thing's smaller than a pack of cigarettes, and you can talk all over the world with it through your computer.
Wow,
that's really neat.
Cool.
So anyway, that was the impression that they made. So anyway, I'm taking the money they paid me. I'm going to the casino today.
So we got
try to turn that.
We got to wrap the show up. We got
to
go to the casino.
All right. So that's that one. I think we had
great question.
One other. So we did the pityriasis one. You might have something on this, Dr. Scott.
Yeah, Dr. Steve, this is Wade from Lake Charles, Louisiana.
Hey, Wade.
I have a 14-year-old son that I recently stayed in a hotel with, and his feet are atrocious. Smells like he's trying to make some cheese in his shoe. Is there anything that we can do about that?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Throw those shoes out.
Yeah.
It's almost always the shoes. Do you know the medical name? We have to have a word for everything. Do you know the medical name for smelly feet?
For smelly feet?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
It's bromodosis.
No, I've never heard it. Bromodosis.
And I love using stuff like that because nobody uses it. So, like, do you know the word for hiccups?
Oh, I do. I can't think of
Syngultus.
Syngultus, yep.
So I will write that in the chart just to drive people crazy. I'll say, intractable syngultus instead of intractable hiccups to make people look it up. So maybe they'll learn something.
Yep, I love it.
So anyway, I would love to put bromodosis. And then heartburn, you know the term for heartburn, the medical term for heartburn, right?
Yeah, rebellious stomach cheese.
Pyrosis. Yeah. But anyway, so smelly feet is, sweat, bacteria, and fungus. Mm-hmm. And if he's got old shoes, then just throw the shoes away. But then, particularly if they don't breathe or they're made of synthetic materials, but get him some, antibacterial soap for his feet. Mm-hmm. And you can get Hibiclens over the counter, and then make sure his shoes are breathable. They got mesh panels if he's wearing sneakers.
And he wears good, clean socks that are breathable. Yes.
And then they have antibacterial insoles too, and he may need those. If he's really got sweaty effing feet, he may have hyperhidrosis of his feet, and in that case, you could buy him an electrophoresis rig where he puts his feet in there. It puts a mild electrical current. Through his feet, and it will shut that down. It's very effective. Talk to a dermatologist if but you can buy those over the counter. Now, one thing that if his feet actually are the thing that stinks, he could soak his feet in 2 parts of warm water and 1 part of cooking vinegar, not industrial vinegar. You don't want to get the 30% acetic acid, which, by the way, is a great weed killer.
Yeah, it will clean.
But 1 part vinegar to 2 parts warm water, and just let him soak his feet. Let him watch an episode of The Mandalorian. That's a perfect amount of time. Yeah, about 20 to 30 minutes.
And I like the Gold Bond powder. A little sprinkle of Gold Bond powder.
What's that got in it? Is it zinc oxide or something like that?
I think it's zinc oxide because it'll help with the sweating and it'll help with the odor both. So, but there's I've had fortune with some folks using the Gold Bond powder for a couple different things. Yeah.
Well, let's see here. Original strength medicated body powder. I want to know what medication.
All right.
It is. I love how they use that word medicated. What's in it? Let me see.
Oh, I have no idea. No, I haven't even looked.
Key ingredients. Okay, menthol.
But there you go. Yeah. There you go.
Okay. Yeah, menthol is, I saw something else that they were using. Oh, for anti-itch stuff. Yeah. And so it has cornstarch, zinc oxide.
Yep.
Acacia Senegal gum. Okay, that's just a binder. Silica, tricalcium phosphate, eucalyptol, which is a menthol alcohol, and then methyl salicylate, salicylic acid. Okay, that's basically, so aspirin is acetyl salicylic acid, so it's non-acetylated salicylate, which is anti-inflammatory. And then stearate and thymol, I never know what those are for. So
I think they're just fillers, stearates.
Okay.
Stearates filler, I think.
Seems to me you could make a one of these, Dr. Scott, and sell it that doesn't have all that other BS in there, But anyway, cool. Well, one of the things that Fresh Balls does is they put tapioca powder in solution, and it's in a volatile solution. So when you rub it on your nuts, the volatile fluid disappears and leaves the tapioca powder there to absorb all your sweat and stink and stuff. I think it's tapioca powder, but whatever it is, it's some organic powder, and that's how they distribute it, which is actually pretty smart.
It is. That's cool.
All right. Got anything from the Fluid family?
Not in a little bit. Let me see. We got a dang lizard.
Yeah, now he said something. He was asking something up above, and I responded to him. Let me see here. You look for that while I read the Super Chats. Myrtle Manus gifted 10 Weird Medicine with Dr. Steve memberships. And then Dang Lizard said, wouldn't surprise me if you got that 5 years ago, but what's he talking about? Can you read up above that to get the context?
No, I was looking for that other thing you wanted to look for.
Okay, he said degenerate gambler, boss man Jack, play. So if you ever want to turn somebody off of gambling, this is how I turned my kids off of being degenerate gamblers. I made them watch Boss Man Jack. He's a guy, there's a channel called Pickle Time or Boss Man Crack, and they chronicle this guy. He's a young kid named Austin. Well, I guess he's not that young. He's like almost, I guess he's 30. And he was a degenerate gambler, but he was actually quite good at this website called Stake, doing these crazy bets, and he took $1,000 and ran it up to like $180,000.
Okay.
And then, dudes, I'm getting out. I'm going to get a car. I'm going to, put a down payment on a house. I'm going to move out. 2 days later, he was broke.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
It's painful to watch.
It is. Oh, God. So the
to
first time I showed it to Beck and Liam, they were screaming at the TV, just stop. And he just couldn't stop. He'd say, okay, I'm out. And then he'd go right back in and do it again. So what Deng Lindisert is talking about is he played a game, which is a variation on dice. However, the win-loss is unlimited. Yes, this is the thing. So there is this thing called the martingale strategy. And martingale is where you double your bet every time you lose.
Okay.
So if you're playing roulette, you put $10 down on red and it's black. So now you put 20 and now it's black again. So now you put 40 and then 80 and then 160. And part of the problem is you could go, I mean, it's happened before where you go so many times where you lose that when you double up, you hit up against the house, the house limit, the upper limit. Because usually it'll say, okay, you can bet a minimum of $10 and a maximum of $1,000.
Okay.
So it only takes a few doublings before you get up to the point where you're now at the table maximum.
Okay.
And so that's why that is a degenerate and ineffective strategy.
Yeah.
Well, on this other website, there's no limit. You can bet as little as you want and as much as you want. And it's all based on how much money you have in your account at the time.
Lord.
Right? So if you have $10,000 in your account, your table minimum is 1 cent and your table maximum is $10,000. So this is what this kid would do is he would, double up and double up and double up. And then all of a sudden he'd hit this massive thing. And he did that to where he literally had almost $200,000 and then just lost it all. So, but that's what that was. And that's on a website called stake.us. And Stake has these things called Stake Originals. And they're really cheesy looking little gambling games. Like this dice game is just a really, it's not even an animated die that just goes back and forth between red and green, where green is when you win and red is where you lose. And it just has a random number generator that generates 10,000 digits. So it's, 2 digits in front of the decimal point and 2 digits behind. And then, wherever that lands, it lands there, right? And you can bet on... I'm getting into the weeds, but you can bet on that. And you can program it too. You can set it up to say, every time I lose, increase my bet by 100%. Okay. Every time I win, reset it to my original bet. And if you lose a bunch of times, that you're going to be doubling. All of a sudden, you're betting, $70 to make back you're $1, or 70 or 140 or 280 or 560, it's crazy. But if you have enough in your account, you can survive some of that, or you could lose it all. It's not impossible. You can lose it all. But anyway, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, that's what that was. So if you want to check that out, just you don't have to go to Stake and sign up. And I'm not encouraging people to gamble. I am encouraging people to watch Boss Man Crack and see what a degenerate gambler really looks like. Austin is now, I believe, in prison. He went to rehab and got kicked out of rehab, went right back and got back online, started playing, and looked like, I don't know, it looked like he was smoking a pipe of some sort. Who knows? Probably tobacco in it.
Yeah.
But I think his parole officer got a hold of him. And my understanding is now there's a warrant and he's in jail. I do not know that for a fact. I've always wished that he would just get better everybody's wishing for him to get better because he would go, Mom, I just won $180,000. And they'd be like, well, that's great, And he would get mad because they weren't more enthused, but they all knew. And his dad would go, so are you going to stop? Are you going to stop? Yeah, of course I'm going to stop. And then he'd get right back on there again. So it's an addiction. Don't let anybody tell you that it's not. Because if you've ever met someone who's a degenerate gambler, it is definitely an addiction. You get that dopamine rush. And you're always looking for it again. It was good that the first, and Liam even said this, he said that if I had gone to the casino the first time and won, there's a possibility I could have ended up with a problem. Right. But he said the fact that we went, he values money too much. He doesn't want to ever lose any, So, but yeah, if he had gone and won the first time. But he went with his knucklehead friends. Let's see. John's Ear Mites, member for 7 months. Thank you for being a member of the Fluid family. Anything else on there?
I can't see any questions.
All right. Okay. You ready to get out of here?
Let's wrap it up.
All right, my friends. Well, thanks, everybody. Really appreciate you being here and listening over the years. I don't know if we're working on 20 years right now or we're working on 18, but it's getting up there in years, and we appreciate you. Thanks to everyone who's made this show happen over the years. Listen to our SiriusXM show on the Faction Talk channel, SiriusXM channel 103, Saturdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern, on demand, and other times at Jim McClure's pleasure. Check out my turn on Normal World, most recently. And I'll get you the number. I'll put the link in on our YouTube channel. Most recently did a thing on female ejaculation where, people who listen to this show already know the truth about female ejaculation and what the science is, but now a lot of other people do too. So that was fun. Go to our website, drsteve.com, for schedules, podcasts, and other crap. Until next time, check your stupid nuts for lumps. Quit smoking, get off your asses, get some exercise. We'll see you in 1 week for the next edition of Weird Medicine. Thanks, everybody.
Today's episode is brought to you by Angie. Angie has made it easier than ever to connect with skilled professionals to get all your jobs and projects done well. Let me tell you, there's the version of it where you try to do something at home, and then there's a version of it where you have someone help you, you watch them do it the right way, and you go, thank God I didn't try to do that myself. I have fully done things around the home that I think look good, and then a bang in the night, and I wake up to a shelf collapsing, a painting falling off the wall. I've seen it all go south. I own a home, and I can tell you, I know how much work it can take. Whether it's everyday maintenance and repairs or making dream projects a reality, it can be hard just to know where to start. But now all you need to do is Angie that and find a skilled local pro who will deliver the quality and expertise you need. Whatever your home project, big or small, indoor or outdoor, you can Angie that and connect with skilled professionals to get the project done well. Right now, one of my wish lists is I want a bike for my condo in Milwaukee, and I would love to rig it up on a pulley in the ceiling because I have one of those lofted ceilings, but I'm so scared to try that on my own. Angie has 20 years of home experience, and they've combined it with new tools to simplify the whole process. Bring them your project online or with the Angie app. Answer a few questions and Angie can handle the rest from start to finish, or help you compare quotes from multiple pros and connect instantly, which means you can take care of any home project in just a few taps. Because when it comes to getting the most out of your home, you can do this when you Angie that. Download the free Angie mobile app today or visit Angie.com. That's ANGI.com.
When you visit Arizona, time is measured in moments, not minutes. Like the moment you see the Grand Canyon for the first time. Visit a new state of mind. Learn more at HereYouAreAZ.com.